Good day, everyone. It is. I wanted to do a stream in remembrance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on the day that the country recognizes his work and his sacrifice. Now, I think his birthday was actually officially yesterday, and I heard that he would have been 93 years old if he still survived. Ginger took out a book out of the library on Dr. Martin Luther King, written by his niece, actually. So I thought that was very poignant. So I am going to read it and show you the book. It is for young adults, so it's not lengthy, but it is very informative and has a lot of good information in it. And of course, this is a solemn day as we remember Dr. Martin Luther King, but also we need to celebrate him and all the other civil rights leaders that have helped move voting and to get rid of racism. Of course, there's still a lot going on in the world and a lot of problems, and we still have a lot of work to do. But that's it from me speaking. I think the I think the book can tell things a lot better. So here we go. I do hope you enjoy if you're watching this on Twitch or later on YouTube. I will post it there. And you can also send me questions, comments, concerns, suggestions at dave@gamemastergames.com or check out the website at gamemastergames.com. So without further ado, here is the book. All right, the title of the book is My Uncle Martin's Words for America. It is Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece tells how he made a difference. All right, and of course, hopefully this won't be a copyright claim, but we'll see what happens. I do hope that you enjoy. It is by Angela Ferris Watkins, who has a PhD, and so I guess Dr. Angela Ferris Watkins. And it's illustrated by Eric Velasquez. So, just on the inside cover, in this inspirational story about Martin Luther King Jr., told from the perspective of his niece, Angela, readers learn how King used words for love and peace to effectively fight for African American civil rights. The book focuses on words and phrases from King's speeches, such as freedom, justice, freedom, and equality. Watkins demonstrates the importance of her uncle's language in bringing about changes during the civil rights movement, from his I Have a Dream speech to the Peace March in Alabama, including a timeline and a glossary. This stirring and poignant book is a wonderful introduction to Martin Luther King Jr. and his powerful message of nonviolence. And it is wonderfully illustrated. So there is the inside cover. Great. Hopefully this is all in the frame. It looks like it is. And here we go. Hi, my name is Angela. I want to tell you about my Uncle Martin. I want to tell you how my Uncle Martin used the power of words to help America better. Before America elected its first African American president, or the first African American woman ran for president, or an African American was appointed as a Supreme Court judge, before African Americans became astronauts or Hollywood directors or billionaires, America was a very different place. There were laws in America that made life difficult for African Americans. These laws kept African Americans from exercising their civil rights, such as being able to choose where to eat, drink, shop, or live. They were called Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws prevented African Americans from enjoying life as other people did. African Americans were segregated, kept apart from white Americans. Some people believed in segregation. They were prejudiced. My Uncle Martin did not believe in Jim Crow laws or segregation. He was very disturbed with the way things were in the United States. He became a leader of the American Civil Rights Movement. His name is Martin Luther King Jr. Uncle Martin worked hard to change Jim Crow laws. He stood up and spoke out against them. He said to crowds of hundreds and thousands of people that new laws should be created that would give African Americans their civil rights. It was a good thing he did because people stopped and listened to him. His deep and captivating voice had rhythm and vibration just like music. Uncle Martin's voice had power, and so did his words. Uncle Martin believed that the solution to changing Jim Crow laws was love. So he used words of love, and that's when America began to change. Slowly and bit by bit, America changed. When prejudiced people bombed his house, where his wife Coretta, my aunt, and his first baby Yolanda, my cousin, were at home, Uncle Martin said with a loud voice, "Non-violence." The prejudiced people bombed his house because they didn't want him to fight against Jim Crow laws. Non-violence means that you will not use hate, weapons, or harmful words to solve your problems. You will only use love. Some people wanted to fight back with guns, but Uncle Martin said, not, quote, non-violence or non-existence, end quote. By this he meant that only love would solve problems. Violence would result in people hurting one another, and some might die. When Uncle Martin used his word non-violence, people listened and things began to change. The people who wanted to fight back with violence put away their guns and words of hate. They listened to Uncle Martin talk about how much more powerful love is. He showed them how unconditional love would give them the power to change things. Uncle Martin cried out justice in Montgomery, Alabama, where African Americans were forced to sit in the back of city buses or stand and give their seats to white Americans if the bus was crowded. Uncle Martin said, quote, "Let justice roll down like waters," end quote. He meant that everyone should be treated fairly. When Uncle Martin used the word justice, people listened and things changed. African Americans boycotted the bus company. They stopped riding the buses. Uncle Martin's words of love gave them courage, and for 381 days, African Americans walked or rode in carpools. Then the rules on the city buses changed. The United States Supreme Court ruled that segregation on buses was against the law. African Americans and all Americans could sit wherever they wanted. Uncle Martin called out for freedom in a public letter he wrote from a jail cell in Birmingham, Alabama. Quote, "We will win our freedom," end quote, he wrote when he was arrested for trying to change the laws in Birmingham. These laws kept African Americans from using the same water fountains as white Americans, or eating in the same restaurants, or using the same restrooms. Freedom means that people are not controlled by other people or unfair rules. Uncle Martin's letter became known as, quote, "the letter from Birmingham jail," end quote. It contained almost 7,000 words. It was a very long letter. When Uncle Martin used the word freedom, people listened and things changed. People started to march in the streets to show that they wanted change. Even though angry police dogs and water hoses were turned on them, they kept marching. Uncle Martin's words of love gave them the strength to keep going. They sang, "We shall overcome." They kept on marching until the Supreme Court of the United States said that Birmingham's segregation of African Americans was against the law. African Americans could enjoy public places just like everyone else. When Uncle Martin spoke of brotherhood to thousands of people at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., when he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, Uncle Martin said that we should all, quote, "sit down together at the table of brotherhood," end quote. By that he meant that we should all come together and love each other like family. When Uncle Martin used his word brotherhood, the people listened, and things changed.
African Americans and white Americans returned to their homes and worked even harder to end the laws that prevented African Americans from enjoying public places like amusement parks and hotels all over the United States. Soon after, a new law was passed, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and segregation at parks, hotels, and other public places ended. Uncle Martin shouted equality to thousands of people in Selma, Alabama, in order to remove the laws that kept African Americans from voting. Equality means that no one is treated differently from anyone else. When Uncle Martin used the word equality, people listened again, and things changed. Thousands of people marched. They started in Selma and headed for Montgomery, Alabama. Angry mobs of police and prejudiced people stopped their first attempt, but the marchers started again a few days later until Martin's words of love kept them motivated. Uncle Martin's words of love kept them motivated. The second time, they made it. They marched all the way to Montgomery, almost 55 miles. Wow. It took 5 days and 4 nights, but the people kept marching, and they marched without fear. Again they sang, "We shall overcome. Love will see us through. We shall overcome." After the march, a new law was passed. The 1965 Voting Rights Act ruled that it was against the law to do things that would keep African Americans from voting, like charging them a poll tax and giving them different tests. African Americans could then go straight to the voting polls like everyone else. I'm so glad Uncle Martin spoke, because people listened, and America has never been the same. Author's note: today you must navigate a world filled with challenges. I wrote this book to help you discover that Martin Luther King Jr. had a wonderful way of dealing with challenges. As my Uncle Martin worked hard to change America, he demonstrated that love is the best way to respond to problems. The words of love Uncle Martin used had power: the power to motivate people in the face of danger, the power to encourage people when they were afraid, the power to strengthen people when they were weak, and the power to change a nation. My hope is that what my uncle taught and practiced will inspire you. His life's work may help you to consider that there is more than one way to meet the challenges that arise in your life. An effective and proven alternative to bullying, hatred, and inflicting harm is love. And the artist's note: the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made America a better place for all Americans. This is what I've always believed, and that is why I wanted to work on this book. It is not true that Dr. King's work benefited only African Americans. To believe that is not to believe in the basic principle on which this country was founded. Working on my Uncle Martin's big heart and my Uncle Martin's words for America has been a great honor for me, as was meeting Angela Ferris Watkins. Through these books, I have come to understand Dr. King's work in a deeper, more profound way. I see him as a man who really believed in the future, a man who understood the significance of our children and ultimately our responsibility to make this world a better place for them. This book spotlights how America was changed by the work of Dr. King in leading the civil rights movement. Today, African Americans continue to enhance the lives of all Americans through our many contributions to American culture. Let us all, as Americans, help to keep Dr. King's legacy alive. And then there's a neat chart here, which I think is amazing, to put it all in synopsis. Uncle Martin's leadership and changes in civil rights. Some of the protests that Uncle Martin led are on the left-hand side, and they resulted in changes in civil rights on the right-hand side. 1955, bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama to end segregation on Montgomery city buses. 1956, a United States District Court ruled that racial segregation on city buses was unconstitutional. The Supreme Court of the United States also ruled that segregation on buses was unconstitutional. 1963, letter from Birmingham jail, as well as marches and sit-ins despite angry dogs and water hoses, to end segregation of public accommodations. 1963, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that Birmingham's segregation practices were unconstitutional. 1963, the I Have a Dream speech during the March on Washington to end segregation of public places. 1964, the Civil Rights Act containing the Public Accommodations Bill passed, ending segregation at public places and discrimination in the workforce. 1965, March from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, for voting rights for African Americans. 1965, the Voting Rights Act passed, outlawing any practices that would keep any Americans from voting on account of race or color. Amazing stuff. There is a glossary at the end, which I'm not going to go over. And there's also a bibliography. So there's plenty of books that you can read about Dr. Martin Luther King. Of course. And some research has been done into this. There's other related books for young readers if you're interested. And it has the captions. It comes where they came from. And an index. And this is by Abrams' book, The Art of Books, since 1949. Since Abrams' books. Yes, since 1949, right? That's what it says, I think. They're in New York, and you can visit their website at www.abramsbooks.com if you're interested in picking this up or getting it for your local library. Angela Ferris Watkins also, here's a little information about her. Angela Ferris Watkins, PhD, is Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece. She's an associate professor of psychology at Spelman College. She holds a bachelor's degree in early childhood education and a PhD in educational psychology. About her first book with Abrams, My Uncle Martin's Big Heart, also illustrated by Eric Velasquez, Kirkus wrote, quote, "This unusual perspective and the dramatic art make this a worthwhile addition to the ever-growing MLK collection." Watkins formerly taught in the public schools of Atlanta, Georgia, where she lives. And about the author, Eric Velasquez is the illustrator of numerous picture books, including My Friend Maya Loves to Dance by Cheryl Willis Hudson Abrams. He is recipient of the Coretta Scott King John Steptoe Award and the Pura Belpre Illustrator Award. He lives in Hartsdale, New York. Visit him online at www.ericvelasquez.com. I hope you enjoyed this reading on Martin Luther King Day here in the United States. My Uncle Martin's Words for America by Angela Ferris Watkins, PhD, and illustrated by Eric Velasquez.